We're going to call the board meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026, and it is 10 a.m. Mr. Ketty, if you would please call the roll.
Good morning, everyone. Chair Lieber.
Here.
Vice Chair Gaines.
Here.
Member Vasquez.
Present.
Member Schaefer.
Present.
Deputy Controller Emron.
Present.
Thank you, members. A quorum is present and the board meeting is called to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, and then if you would please remain standing for a special recitation by our Executive Director, Yvette Stowers. And if the pledge would be led today by Mr. Emron.
Absolutely. Please stand if you may. Right hand over your heart, and we may begin. I pledge allegiance
Please remain standing.
Good morning, members. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with harmonies of the liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on. Let us march on until victory is won. Lift every voice and sing a hymn written by James Weldon Johnson, 1871, 1931, was when he was alive. His brother, J. Rosman, put it to music in 1905. Thank you.
Please be seated. Thank you very much for that recitation, Ms. Stowers. We appreciate that, and that calls much to my mind. And I think it's a truth that we have the chance to be the realization of the dreams of many. So thank you so much. And we'll go to opening remarks, and Vice Chair.
If I could, thank you. Just wanted to recognize Black History Month and honor the profound contributions of Black Americans to our nation's fabric, from trailblazers like freedom fighter Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King in civil rights, to innovators like George Washington Carver in agriculture, the cultural icons like Maya Angelou in literature. Their resilience has shaped democracy, science, arts, justice, really every aspect of American life. And I just happened to catch President Trump on TV recognizing Black History Month, and it's very interesting because he had his pardon czar come forward, Alice Johnson, whom he had pardoned after her life sentence for nonviolent offenses. She was just so gracious and just appreciated the position that she had. I didn't realize that over 40,000 pardons that have occurred since President Trump has been in office. And so Johnson has helped oversee reforms like the First Step Act, enabling thousands of second chances for people who've already paid a price for their crimes and are fighting to rebuild their lives. During Black History Month, it's good to honor our great difference makers from the past, but also celebrate leaders such as Johnson who are making a difference today. And can't go without mention the Reverend Jesse Jackson and what he did. He was actually there when Martin Luther King was assassinated, and he was a man who bridged the civil rights era to the present. He was a giant figure in American politics and culture for many years, and he leaves a massive legacy in the Black community and in our country. And then finally, I'd like to recognize the skier deaths that occurred in the Sierra Nevada area recently, and they were backcountry skiing. It was a 3-day trip, and they were trying to get out in between another storm, and were lost in an avalanche. There were 15 individuals, including 4 guides, and 9 of the 15 perished, including 3 of the 4 guides. And so it was just a very, very sad moment, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those families who were mothers and spouses and children. And it's the deadliest avalanche in California history, and just a heartbreaking tragedy. And there's also been a number of skiers that have lost their lives. There was one at Heavenly last week. There have been 2 at North Star. And so we just pray for their families through what is a very difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Vice Chair. You mentioned several of the folks I was going to bring up, but the only thing I would add is that I understand, I guess this is the 100th year anniversary of Black History Month, which was started some time back. And in my district, the county has made several celebrations recognizing the 100-year anniversary of Black History Month. And I guess it goes back to 1926 when Dr. Carter Woodson, an American historian, founded the first annual celebration of Black Americans as a week-long observance. Then, in 1976, under President Ford, officially recognized Black History Month during that celebration of the United States when we were celebrating the bicentennial. Since then, it's been observed throughout, and now it's actually more of a month-long celebration as opposed to just a week. And you mentioned Jesse Jackson, but I'm going to save that and the adjournment, in terms of the morning that we adjourn in his honor. The only other thing I'd mention is that the other thing that also took place, it's on its 80th anniversary this month, happens to be the Mendez case, which took place in Westminster here in California, which was the case that actually set the tone and the stage for Brown versus Board of Education back in 1954 on the whole segregation of our schools. It was that case in 1946, the Mendez versus Westminster decision in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that affirmed district court's ruling on the narrow ground that segregation of Mexican-American children specifically was against California law, thus violating the 14th Amendment. This case was crucial in establishing that separate but equal had no place in public education, paving the way for the Brown versus Education decision in 1954. And then you mentioned, I guess, a little bit about the Olympics, and 3 of those individuals actually are from Los Angeles, from my district. The snowboarder, Kim, Beatrice Kim, and then, of course, the figure skaters, Spencer Akari Howe and Madison Choke. And then you had the bobsled, Azaria Hill. And then, of course, the U.S. team finished second with the final medal count of 33 medals overall. So I just wanted to recognize those folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Emron.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning to you all. It's one of my favorite months of the year, and much like the Vice Chair and Member Vasquez was speaking about Black History Month. I also wanted to recognize Lunar New Year, the beginning of Ramadan, and the season of Lent. So when it goes back to Black history, it is a 100-year celebration. It's quite amazing, and it's an observance of the resilience and labor, innovation, and leadership of Black Americans whose contributions have shaped our state and nation. It is both a celebration of progress and a reminder that the pursuit of equity and opportunity continues, and what an honor and privilege it is on my own behalf to represent our great state controller, the first Black state controller in California's 175-year history, and certainly will not be the last. And that is the definition of breaking the glass ceiling. And moving on to Lunar New Year, it's the year of the fire horse. I got to attend a celebration Monday night, and it symbolizes strength, courage, and a bold forward movement, a fitting emblem for thoughtful yet decisive leadership. And myself observing Ramadan. It's being observed by millions and billions of people across California and around the world. It's a sacred month of fasting from dawn to sunset. But it's far more than abstaining from food and drink. It's a time of spiritual reflection and heightened prayer, acts of charity and intentional service. It calls for patience and gratitude, empathy for those facing hardship, and accountability, both in word and deed. The nightly breaking of the fast strengthens community and generosity, and the emphasis of charitable giving reminds us that prosperity carries great responsibility. And then similarly, Lent is here, and I believe there was a statistic that said Lent, Ramadan, and Lunar New Year all started on the same day, and this is the first time in 163 years that it's all come on one calendar day. So Lent invites many Christian communities into a season of reflection, sacrifice, humility, and renewal. So across these traditions, the shared themes are powerful: reflection, renewal, justice, service, and stewardship. And it's quite applying to the job that we do as property tax stewards, and fairness in application, integrity and oversight, transparency in governance, and service to every community without exception. And in honoring this convergence of history, faith, culture, and achievement, let us remember leadership is not defined by title, but how we faithfully become stewards of the institutions that are entrusted to us. May this season inspire us to lead wisely, act justly, and serve humbly on behalf of all 40 million Californians. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer.
Yes, thank you very much. I hopped out of bed this morning at 5:30 and caught a plane and couldn't wait to get up here and be with you folks and help celebrate Black History Month, which is also known as Afro-American History Month. There's no birthdays to celebrate this month except President Washington and President Lincoln, so I want to focus on Black History Month and share with you. I used to run a hotel in downtown Baltimore, Maryland back in the 1980s. I called it the Schaefer Hotel, and the mayor was William Donald Schaefer, who later became governor, and I put his picture in the window, which was a good marketing tool. But I ended up as my city councilman, Kwasi Nfumi, who we know as having been president of NAACP. And I had as my U.S. congressman, and in his office several times, Elijah Cummings, who was a big splash in liberal growth in America. Julian Bond, when I was city councilman, Julian Bond was a 25-year-old legislator in Georgia in the assembly, and he was getting all kinds of national publicity as a 25-year-old kid who was black who became a Georgia assemblyman. And I saw a national photograph of him smoking a cigarette. And I sent him a letter in my council stationery. He said, "You can't do that. You are an inspiration to so many young people of all colors in this country, and smoking is not something to be promoted. And I would ask that you put away the cigarettes. You can smoke if you want to, but don't let your picture be taken." He wrote me a letter back essentially saying it's none of my business. But fast forward 40 years, and I was at a NAACP dinner, and he was the chairman of the NAACP. Julian Bond was the chairman of NAACP, and I went up to him, and by now he's no longer 25, he's 65. I said, "Julian, are you still smoking?" And he said, "Not if my wife is around." And I said, "I wrote you a letter 40 years ago or 30 years ago and took you to task for smoking." And he said, "You know, I remember that letter." because it was, I want you to know I was so impressed with Kwasi Mufumi, my city councilman. He went on to be a congressman, and then he decided that he wanted a bigger calling, and he decided to take on the NAACP presidency, and then he became chairman of the board of a major university, and then he came back and ran for Congress again. And he was I had good rapport with him. I gave him $1,000 when he ran for Congress. He'd actually presided as the eulogy for the great governor, William Donald Schaefer, and he told the audience of hundreds of very important people at this state funeral that Mike Schaefer is somebody who was a great comfort to the governor, because I'd taken the late governor out to dinner twice a week. And I was so impressed in having such a warm relationship with people that I admire, like Kwasi Mfumi, like my client Archie Moore, who we all know as a late great world champion boxer, and he'd bring his young protege Ali down to San Diego to have dinner with us once in a while. So I've had so many warm relationships within the minority community, and I'm always lauding our controller for being the fashion plate that she is. She's always the best dressed person in any room. People say I'm a little racist because I pick on her. I'm not picking her, I'm a cheerleader. I'm also mentioning our executive director's hairdos, which change from this to this, and, you know, with the times. And I think that's exciting. And if it offends anybody, I'm sorry. I also want to share with you something significant. You may know I'm in a race for the U.S. Congress, and you may know that I'm going to be 88 next month. The second oldest person in the U.S. Congress is Maxine Waters from Los Angeles, District 35. And I find out that I am 6 months older than Maxine Waters, which means if I go to Washington next January, I will probably automatically be the second oldest person. And doing my 2-year term, I expect to be the oldest member of the United States House of Representatives. So, you know, my heart is good. I can't wait for things to happen. And I think I get a lot of my encouragement from you folks. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Members, now we'll go to our safety and informational announcements by Ms. Cicchetti.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to remind the audience to silence their cell phones and their wireless devices. A safety announcement. In the auditorium, the exits are located on each side of the stage at the front, with additional exits in the rear. Please take a moment to locate the exit signs and the closest exit to you in the event of an emergency. Our informational announcement. This board meeting will be live streamed to the public and posted on the BOE website. Public comments are taken on each agenda item. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak before the board on any agenda item in person, we ask that you complete and submit to the Sergeant of Arms a public comment appearance sheet located at the entrance of the auditorium. If you wish to speak before the board by telephone, please dial the phone number and access code provided by that's provided on our public agenda notice, and follow the instructions of the AT&T moderator. When giving a public comment, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We also ask that all speakers in the auditorium or on the AT&T telephone line just state their names before speaking for the record. This concludes the safety and informational announcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll go on now to item 1. This is public comment on matters that are not on the agenda. Persons who wish to address the Board of Equalization regarding items not on the agenda may do so under this item. Please note that the board cannot act on items not on the agenda. However, the board can schedule issues raised by the public for consideration at future meetings. When giving your public comment, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We do not have written comments, but we do have one person in the auditorium joining us today, Mr. Rudy Bermudez, taxpayer advocate, and if you would please come forward. It's good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Madam Chair. It's been a while.
Yes.
Ted, it's good to see you again. Some of my former colleagues, Tony is doing a great job. Thank you, Chair, board members. My name is Rudy Bermudez. I am a taxpayer advocate, and I'm here today to compliment the board for its efforts to promote and ensure fair and consistent administration of property tax law. Taxpayers, the board's Taxpayer Bill of Rights working group, their efforts to improve California's property tax system is both timely and significant. Identifying and correcting problems and providing guidance to the county assessors to ensure that the county assessors' practices and procedures are consistent and fairly applied throughout the state benefits all taxpayers and restores the confidence in taxpayers' belief that the system works for everyone equally and fairly. I'd like to thank the board for setting up this working group. Like I said, it was well overdue. I would especially like to thank my representative on the board from my district. If I may, informally, Tony Vasquez, thank you very much for your efforts in working to establish this group. Many of the issues or inconsistencies are currently being solved by this group and addressed. But I would like to highlight and address just one inconsistency today. And that is that taxpayers are required to pay their property tax bills on time. And when they fail to do so, they are charged a penalty and costs. And the costs differ from county to county. In my county, Los Angeles County, where I reside, that's a $10 charge. In Sacramento, where we're standing and where we're meeting today, it's $40. There is no consistency from county to county on charges. There is consistency on the interest rates that are charged to the taxpayer for failing to make a timely payment. However, if a taxpayer is owed a refund, that refund in some counties is delayed from 6 to 12 months and even longer after the reduction has been enrolled. That the counties are not penalized for this delay. However, this delay creates hardship on the taxpayer and in some cases, serious financial personal harm to the taxpayer and their families. This double standard is not right and should not be tolerated. Taxpayers have the right to be equally protected and treated under California's tax law. Counties should be held to the same standard as taxpayers. Counties should have the same requirement as the taxpayer to make timely payments. And if a county fails to pay, they should be charged a 10% fee accrued daily on that amount and a cost as well. So I would like to thank you very much for the time you've given me. And thank you again for all your work. And I continue to look forward to the outcome of this working group. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I have a
And
question,
if-
Madam Chair.
Well, we can't entertain questions of the speakers right now, but I'll urge Mr. Bermudez to also submit his comments in writing to us, and that would be very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it's wonderful seeing you guys again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we comment?
I think we may have legal coming up to comment on that. It's probably better not to at this juncture.
Yeah, I think you've got it correct. Richard Moon, Chief Counsel. It's better to stay away from comments from this part of the agenda. You will be getting written comments, apparently, and then tomorrow is the work group. And so, it would be appropriate to discuss it at that point.
Okay, so we can bring up these points that were raised tomorrow.
Yes, we'll take note, and we have Mr. Bermudez's email address, and hopefully he'll submit written comments to us too,
Excellent.
because I think there was more in his statement that he wanted to deliver. So we'll go now to our AT&T moderator to ask if there is anyone waiting on the telephone line who would like to make public comments. AT&T moderator,
you,
if
ladies
you can
and-
tell us if there's anyone who would like to comment on item 1.
Thank you. If you'd like to comment on item 1, please press 1 followed by 0 at this time. 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on now to item 2.
Madam?
And I think, do we have?
Yes, we have the controller on, so I'd like to introduce her and get her on and signed in, if that's okay with you.
Please.
Ms. Cohen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Alrighty, Ms. Cohen, Controller Cohen is appearing remotely. If a member of the board attends the meeting by teleconference from a remote location, the member shall disclose whether any other individual, 18 years or older, is present in the room at the remote location with the member, and the general nature of the member's relationship with such individual.
That is correct. I am appearing by myself. There's no one here.
Thank you, Controller Cohen. We could continue.
Thank you, members. We'll go on to item 2. This is Tax Program Matters, public hearing for property tax, state assessees, presentation on capitalization rates and other factors affecting values, presented by Mr. McCool.
Good morning, Chair Lieber and honorable members of the board. My name is Jack McCool, Chief of the State Assessed Properties Division. I am here today to introduce the State Assessee's presentations on capitalization rates and other factors affecting value. Under Property Tax Rule 903, the board provides state assessees with the opportunity to make public presentations regarding the valuation of their unitary property. Today's agenda also provides private railroad car taxpayers an opportunity to make public presentations on factors affecting the taxable values of private railroad cars. These presentations are informational and do not require any board action. There will be a second opportunity in April for assessees to make similar presentations. I'm not aware of any state assessees that are planning on making a presentation today. However, I will note that the State Assessed Properties Division staff has met with many state assessees already this year to discuss matters related to the upcoming valuation season, and we have additional meetings scheduled for the remainder of this month. Additionally, we're still in the process of developing our annual capitalization rate study for this year, and we continue to have ongoing dialogue with assessees regarding the study. We will continue to analyze the information that is shared with us, and we will continue to make ourselves available to any state assessees that would like to meet with us. This concludes my presentation for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. McCool? Seeing none, we have no comments from anyone that sent us something in writing, and we have no one in the auditorium who would like to comment. So we'll go ahead and go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, is there anyone waiting on the phone lines who would like to comment on item 2?
If you would like to comment on item 2, please press 1 followed by 0 at this time. 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up.
Thank you, moderator. So Mr. McCool has stated that we'll be seeing these items again, and we appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And members will go on now to item 3. This is Southern California Edison Company, and Mr. Ambrose will be presenting this item. I think if you could hit the button there, that would be great.
Okay. Good morning, Chair Lieber, honorable members of the board. My name is Lou Ambrose. I'm an appeals attorney for the board. As you may recall, the 2025 state assessed property petition of Southern California Edison was decided by the board in November 2025. That decision was final when the board made it. However, due to the amount in controversy, the tax amount in controversy, and consistent with Revenue and Taxation Code Section 40, the board is required to adopt a written decision. Accordingly, I prepared for your consideration a draft non-precedential written decision memorializing the action and vote that the board took in November 2025. Once adopted, the decision would be posted to the BOE website to fulfill the board's obligations and to allow for transparency to the public. At this time, staff recommends the board adopt the non-precedential Section 40 written decision. And just one note, Mr. Gaines at the board meeting had voted against the motion to adopt the staff recommendation. His name was mistakenly included on the signature line on the last page of the Section 40 decision. And when the final decision is prepared, his name will be removed.
Thank you very much. So this is, again, a non-appearance matter, and so we won't delve into it heavily. Is there a motion to adopt the non-precedential decision and publish the written summary decision under Revenue and Taxation Codes 40 for Southern California Edison Company? Anybody like to, Mr. Gaines moves, is there a second?
I have a second, but I also have a question.
Okay, I'll take Mr. Schaefer's second. And Mr. Schaefer, your question.
Yes, when they make a request for a modification of X millions of dollars, we usually end up saying yes or no. Isn't there where they might be 20% right, and maybe we might make a recommendation somewhere between 0 and 100%? I think as a public body, I think that's an imposition on us, and especially whether there's a showing of good faith versus a showing of bad faith. We should be able to speak on this rather than leave it ultimately to the courts.
I see
I'll
Mr.
let
Moon
Mr.
approaching.
Moon answer that.
Mr. Richard Moon, Chief Counsel. So, Mr. Schaefer, the appeal, the substance of the appeal was heard by this board in November.
Yeah.
And so at that time, the board members would be free to ask any questions or to, based on your reading of the evidence, determine that a certain portion or percentage of a claim any taxpayer is making on an appeal is valid and that you would grant it. For this particular appeal, as you know, the staff recommendation, I believe, was to deny, and the board 4-1 voted in favor of the staff recommendation. And so what's going on right now is merely the approval of the Section 40 decision as reflective of the decision that was made in November.
I see. That was the time I could have further erred it. I just want to establish as a matter of general principle that there's some place between 0 and 100% that might be worth evaluation, and I want to encourage settlements because if it goes on to litigation in the courts, the judge may very well say, there's got to be some merit here without the whole thing. We have the same jurisdiction the court does to resolve disputes, and I would further encourage us to try to resolve these disputes and give half a loaf here and there where there's been a showing of good faith.
During the appeal, there's almost always information that's flowing back and forth to determine if there's appraisal validity to any of the arguments that are being made. And so it's not uncommon for staff to recommend or for the board to decide that a portion of a particular argument is valid and supported by the evidence. So,
And if
so
we
that does
find-
happen.
And if we find bad faith, we could add a draconian penalty too. I mean, I'm not always Mr. Nice Guy, but I think most people coming before us are in good faith, and they just stumbled here and there, and we're trying to work with them. That's why we're elected rather than appointed, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, members.
If I could,
Mr. Gaines.
yeah, thank you. I just wanted to clarify because Mr. Ambrose brought up this issue, and I am, in terms of my vote, and I'm looking at the summary decision under Revenue Taxation Code, Section 40, and it does have looks like there's a footnote here at the oral hearing, or denied the petition as to all the issues by a 4-to-1 vote of the members, with Vice Chair Lieber, Member Vasquez, Schaefer, and Cohen voting aye, and Chairman Gaines voting no. But I think you were referring to the last page of this?
Yes.
Page 31?
Correct, yeah, the footnote's correct, including your name on the last page was incorrect.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So that's been corrected.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Members, we do not have written comments on this one, and there doesn't appear to be anyone in the auditorium who's coming forward. And so we'll go ahead to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, is there anyone who's waiting to make a comment on item 3?
If you would like to comment on item number 3, please press 1 followed by 0 at this time. 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up at this time.
Thank you. So members, we have a motion from Mr. Gaines and a second from Mr. Schaefer on this item. If there's no further discussion, we'll ask Ms. Cicchetti to please call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Abstain?
Member Vasquez. Aye. Member Schaefer. Aye. Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Okay, members, the motion carries. And we'll go on now to item 4. This is Race Communications LLC, and Mr. Ambrose again is presenting on this item.
Good morning again. Again, my name's Lou Ambrose, appeals attorney for the board. As you may recall, the 2025 State Assessed Property petition of Race Telecommunications LLC was decided by the board in December of 2025. That decision is final, but due to the amount of the tax amount in controversy, under Revenue and Taxation Code Section 40, the board is required to adopt a written decision for the previous oral decision. Accordingly, I prepared for your consideration a draft non-precedential written decision memorializing the action and vote that the board took in December 2025. Once adopted, the decision would be posted to the BOE website to fulfill the board's obligations and to allow transparency. At this time, staff recommends the board adopt the non-precedential Section 40 written decision prepared for Race Telecommunications LLC.
Thank you. Members, is there a motion? The appropriate motion would be to adopt and publish the written non-precedential summary decision under Rev and Tax Code Section 40 for Race Communications. So Mr. Vasquez moves, seconded by Mr. Gaines. And is there any questions or early discussion? Seeing none. We do not have written comments, and nor do we have any speaker cards from the auditorium. So let's see if AT&T has anyone waiting on the line to speak to us about item 4. Moderator, item 4.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to comment on item number 4, please press 1-0 at this time. 1-0. And no participants are queuing up.
Thank you so much. Members will bring it back, and if there's no further discussion, we'd be prepared to vote on the motion made by Mr. Vasquez and seconded by Mr. Gaines.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Thank you, members. The motion carries. And we will go on now to item 5, which is PO Pico Energy Center. Again, section 40. And Ms. Wilkman will be presenting this one.
Thank you, and good morning, Chair Lieber and honorable members of the board. For the record, my name is Sarah Wilkman. I'm an appeals attorney for the board. As you will recall, the 2025 state assessment petition for PO Pico Energy Center LLC was previously decided by the board in November 2025. That decision was final at the moment the board made it. However, due to the amount of tax and controversy and consistent with Revenue and Taxation Code Section 40, the board is required to adopt a written decision for that decision. Accordingly, I prepared for your consideration a draft non-precedential written decision to memorialize the action and vote that the board took in November 2025. Upon adoption, the decision would be posted to the board's website to fulfill the board's obligations and to allow for transparency to the public. At this time, staff recommends that the board adopt the non-precedential written decision prepared for PO Pico Energy Center LLC.
Thank you. Members, is there a motion to adopt and publish the non-precedential written summary decision under Rev and Tax Code Section 40 for PO Pico Energy? Mr. Vasquez moves.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gaines. And seeing no discussion on this one, we have not received written comments, nor is there apparently anyone in the auditorium who would like to comment. So we'll go ahead and go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you could let us know if there's anyone hoping to speak to item 5.
If you would like to comment on item number 5, please press 10 at this time. 10, please. And no participants are queuing up.
Thank you. Members, we have a motion by Mr. Vasquez and a second by Mr. Gaines. And we can go ahead and have Ms. Cicchetti please call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Thank you, members. That's unanimous. And we'll keep on going with item 6, Crown Castle Fiber LLC. Again, section 40, and Ms. Wilkman is also presenting on this item.
Thank you, Chair Lieber and honorable members of the board. Again, my name is Sarah Wilkman, appeals attorney for the board. And as you'll recall, the 2025 state assessment petition for Crown Castle Fiber was previously decided by the board in December 2025. Similarly, that decision was final at the moment the board made it, but due to the amount in controversy of the appeal and consistent with Revenue and Taxation Code Section 40, the board is required to adopt a written decision for that previous decision. And accordingly, I have prepared for your consideration today a draft non-precedential written decision to memorialize the action and vote that the board took in December 2025. Once adopted, the decision would be posted to the board's website to fulfill the board's obligations and to allow for transparency to the public. And at this time, I recommend that the board adopt the non-precedential Section 40 written decision prepared for Crown Castle Fiber.
Thank you. Members, the motion needed is to adopt and publish the non-precedential written summary decision under Rev and Tax Code Section 40 for Crown Castle Fiber LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Gaines,
Second.
and seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Okay. We do not have written comments, and we don't have any comment cards from the auditorium. So we'll go ahead to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, could you let us know if there's anyone hoping to make a comment on item 6?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to comment on item number 6, please press 10 at this time. 1 followed by 0. And no participants are queuing up.
Thank you. Members, we have a motion from Mr. Gaines, seconded by Mr. Schaefer. So, Ms. Cicchetti, if you would please call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Thank you, members. That passes unanimously. And we'll go on to item 7. These are property tax non-appearance matters audits. And Ms. Cruz is presenting this item.
Good morning, Chair Lieber and honorable members of the board. My name is Michelle Cruz, Principal Property Appraiser of the State Assessed Property Division. The State Assessed Property Division performs routine audits of state assessees under the authority of California Revenue and Taxation Code Section 828 and Government Code Section 15618. The purpose of a property tax audit is to determine the accuracy, completeness, and reliability of the financial data furnished by state assessees and used by the board in the valuation process. Audits also include an internal review of methods, calculations, and assumptions used by the State Assessed Properties Division. Before you today, for your consideration, are 3 property tax audits completed by State Assessed Property Division staff. The assessees have been presented with a copy of the audit report and provided a 30-day window to provide additional information in response to the audit report. Upon adoption of each audit, the assessee will receive official notice of their value change and are provided 50 days in which they may appeal. Due to the confidential nature of the material used by staff to determine our recommended value changes due to audit, we are limited to what we can discuss in today's public meeting and cannot discuss specific aspects of each audit. The first audit is for Race Telecommunications, LLC. Race is an operator of a fiber-based telecommunications network that provided voice, video, broadband internet, and data service-related infrastructure. Race was provided a copy of their audit report, and they did not provide additional information. The next audit is for Digital Transportation Corp. Digital provides telecommunication services via an underground fiber optic network. They were provided a copy of their audit and did not provide any additional information. The final audit is for Comcast Business Communications, LLC. Comcast Business Communications is a subsidiary of the Comcast Corporation and provides telecommunications and technology solutions to business and government agencies. They were also provided a copy of their audit report. The assessee did not provide staff with additional information. The assessees for all 3 of these audits were cooperative during the audit process, and all will receive official notice upon adoption of changes in the value. I ask for your adoption of the audits of Race Telecommunication, LLC, Digital Transportation Corp., and Comcast Business Communications, LLC.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Cruz? This time, Mr. Gaines.
I do, yeah. I just, can you help me a little bit? Because it looks like we have deleted California Gas Gathering, Inc. So we only have 3 that we're asked to approve versus 4.
The assessee had provided additional information that
Okay.
needed further review from staff. Therefore, we removed it from the agenda.
Okay, so we'll be coming back at some point?
Yes, possibly.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Great. Seeing no further questions, Mr. Schaefer.
You know, these fees sort of become automatic penalties, which is different than interest, which can be actually determined as to what it is based on the amounts of money and the time involved. As I grew through life, I've noticed the banks were charging $34 a piece for an NSF check. And because they're somewhat regulated by government, it was found that the actual cost of processing an NSF check might be less than $1. So they have, most major banks have actually eliminated that charge altogether. I'm wondering if sometimes we have a penalty here that's really no bad faith showing. Maybe we could have the penalty be adjustable based on what good faith and what promptness and whether the person has a seedy past or a rather good past in dealing with this. There's a lot of factors in there that I think should cry out for adjustment of automatic penalties.
And we have Mr. Moon.
Good morning, Richard Moon, Chief Counsel again. So there is a provision where the taxpayers, once they get a penalty for late filing, they can file for an appeal. And then at that point, the board would be within their discretion to change or to either take off or put on a penalty anywhere between, I think it's up to 10%.
Okay, and as long as we're advised that we have discretion to be fair and just.
Yeah, based on the facts, that would be up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So the needed motion would be to approve the change in values of the state assessed properties discovered on audit. And these are for Race Telecommunications, Digital Transportation Corp., and Comcast Business Communications. Would someone like to make a motion? Mr. Vasquez moves.
Second?
Seconded by Mr. Gaines. And we do not have written communications regarding this, and we haven't received speaker cards from the auditorium, so we'll go ahead to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, could you please let us know if there's anyone who is hoping to make a comment on item 7?
Thank you. If you would like to comment on item number 7, please press 10 at this time. 1 followed by 0. And no participants are queuing up.
Thank you. Members, we have a motion from Mr. Vasquez, seconded by Mr. Gaines. Seeing no further discussion, Ms. Cicchetti, if you would please call the roll.
Chair Lieber?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines?
Aye.
Member Vasquez?
Aye.
Member Schaefer?
Aye.
Controller Cohen?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, members. That passes unanimously. And we will, thank you, Ms. Cruz. It's appreciated. And we will go on a 10-minute recess to allow for our labor break. And we will, it's 10:51 now. We will return at 11:01. Thank you. Members, we are back from our break, and audiovisual is ready for us. It is 11:01, and we'll go on now to item 8, which is our consent agenda, board meeting minutes. Would any member like to make a motion to adopt the minutes of the January 28th, 2026 board meeting minutes?
So moved?
Moved by Mr. Emron. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Schaefer. And we do not have written comments, nor do we have any speaker cards on this item. So we'll go ahead and go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you could tell us if there's anyone hoping to make a comment on item 8.
If you would like to comment on item number
8.
please press 1 followed by 0 at this time. Nobody is queuing up.
Okay, thank you. Members, seeing no further discussion, Mr. Mr. Schaefer.
I don't see the minutes of last month's meeting until I appear at this month's meeting. Isn't that right?
Yvette Stowers can comment on this, but we all received them in advance.
All right. I'd like to ask Ms. Towers, when does the public see the minutes of last month's meeting?
And we have Ms. Himovitz to answer that.
Good morning. Julia Himovitz on behalf of legal. So the minutes are provided to the public when the PAN is posted, which pursuant to Bagley-Keene is 10 days prior to this meeting. I believe board members do receive preview of the minutes well in advance of PAN being posted, and that is sent to your BOE email. You may wish to reach out to your staff to have a hard copy provided to you if that's helpful.
My concern is that we allow the public to come in and complain or praise the minutes. They have a right to call the AT&T operator. Let's say they want to be sure that they were properly mentioned or not mentioned in the minutes. You're telling me that not later than February 15th, which is 10 days ago, last month's minutes were posted. So if any member of the public was concerned as to what the minutes turned out to say, they're able to see the minutes as of 10 days ago.
Correct.
So they have 10 days to decide whether there's something missing or misspoken.
That's correct.
I'm not sure that they really care that much, but we're giving them the right because we could possibly have failed to put into the minutes something relevant that they had brought to our attention, you know. So I can see that. Okay, that's a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Now we have a motion from Mr. Emron, and I believe that was seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And we don't have public comment on this item. So we're prepared to go to Mr. Ketty for the roll call.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Deputy Controller Emron.
Aye.
Thank you, members. That motion carries, and we'll go on to item 9. Under Board Member Matters, the Legal Entity Ownership Program Informational Hearing Report. You have in your binders a report that we've compiled from our hearing held last month. And I think it was a very valuable hearing for the members and the public to learn how the program is operating and the good job that BOE staff are doing in regards to it. I wanted to comment that I would like to thank our executive director and the staff of LEOP for their comprehensive verbal report that was given last month. As part of our due diligence responsibilities as board members, it is critical that we periodically examine the operations of our major programs to ensure that we are fulfilling the BOE's mission to serve the public through fair, effective, and efficient tax administration. There were many points that were raised by our assessor community, and I'd like to continue to work with the executive director on those points and bring them back to the board and continue to get input from our assessors as well. One of the points that we learned about was that so much of the operations of LEOP depend upon voluntary disclosures of changes in ownership on coming information and forms. This process includes the complementary relationships between BOE, the FTB, and our 58 elected county assessors. Unfortunately, for many of our property taxpayers, inadvertent failure to report changes in ownership in a timely manner can result in penalties. And since our goal in ensuring fair, efficient, and effective tax administration should focus on reducing compliance obligations, we should examine carefully the suggestions that were made by our county assessors and our stakeholders for improving compliance. My memorandum describes some of these technical suggestions, and as I mentioned, we will continue to work to see where we can make beneficial changes. Also, the LEOP program includes discovery of changes in ownership. During the hearing, we held discussions regarding discovery techniques, and particularly regarding subsidiaries with different names than the primary filer and entities that are located outside of San Francisco. And there was one assessor in particular who commented that within his county, it was really a very multi-layered situation that made administration of it very difficult. So we will continue to work on that issue to fully support the intent of Prop 13 and to ensure that true changes in ownership are properly enrolled. It is possible that statutory changes are needed. Implementing these suggestions to improve and reform LEOP will help ensure that we are executing our mandate to provide for fair, effective, and efficient tax administration. And I know that I plan to send the video out to all of my assessors to get additional input, and we'll be having the AAB hearing tomorrow, which will bring many of those same folks within reach for us to continue to get their experience on what is working and what is not working regarding LEOP. So again, I thank all of the staff who pitched in and our executive director, and more to come on that topic. So thank you so much. Any questions, comments, dialogue from board members? Mr. Vasquez.
Yes, I just wanted to thank you and the staff for sharing the information. I thought it was very eye-opening in terms of just understanding, because I really hadn't looked at it that closely, the whole LEOP program. And then especially from my count, or from the county, the different county assessors, as they were sharing their thoughts and ideas. And very much interested moving forward on some of the things we might want to look at in terms of closing some of those loopholes, right? Because I know several people have looked at it and have kind of lumped it all together with Prop 13, but I don't think, not really understanding the dynamics and the impact that would have on a lot of the, especially a lot of our seniors that are I think are surviving because of the reduction or the stabilization of their property tax for their homes. But at the same time, I know there's some concerns from folks on the commercial side as they look at commercial properties. So looking forward to further discussions on that.
Great, thank you very much. We do not have written comments on this item, although we did have robust discussion last month. And we don't have any speaker cards submitted regarding this. So we'll go ahead to our AT&T moderator. And moderator, if you could let us know if there's anyone holding on the line who would like to comment on item 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to comment on item number 9, please press 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up at this time.
Thank you very much. So members, this is a report back only, no action is needed. And so we will keep going on to our chief counsel matters.
Point of order, Madam Chair, I want to speak as to board member matters before we leave it.
Okay, let's get a little advice on is this on item 9?
No, it's on the items that are not. I have specifically requested 2 items to be board member matters of the executive director, and I have not heard back from her. I wonder if she got my request. I had the prior month submitted something to her, and then she had talked me out of taking it off the agenda because I assured her it wasn't something that really needed our attention. It was administrative, and she assured me she would take care of the matter. And then on the eve of the meeting, she says, we can't take care of it this month. And I'm trying to find out if she says means next month or next year or when Trump leaves office. I'm really a little vague there. And so I said I want to put these items on the agenda for February's meeting. And I don't have a letterhead like you do, it's the state seal and all, but I make up my own letterhead, and I ask her to put it on a letterhead of the office, or I'll put it on my own letterhead, which I make up with a seal on it. It's all black and white, and I have had no dialogue back from her, and the matter has not gotten on the agenda, and they're both important matters. I want to talk about the AT&T matter, which we notice we've had about a dozen matters today, and nobody has been on the line at all. I have a report here from the City of San Diego City Clerk as to how they handled the matter, and I want to bring all these matters up. And then I have a second matter involving the labor code requirements that we be reimbursed for our necessary and actual travel. Since we never talk except in open forum, this is not dirty linen, this is administrative.
Okay, and
all these things she can handle administrative, she refuses to. She says that it should come to the board. Well, I salute that idea. But she's ignoring my request that it go to the board, and that's not her discretion. Her discretion is to say, yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, and put it on the board and let you guys decide the merits of it.
Well, let's get some advice from Mr. Moon. And I know that we're not able to discuss topics that aren't on the agenda, so let's get some technical advice on that. And then we can roll into item 10, our Bagley-Keene open meetings discussion. Thank you. Mr. Moon.
Yeah, so I believe the item that you were going to move to, item 10, is actually the item that Mr. Schaefer requested be on the agenda. And so, whatever issues there may have been, which I believe our executive director and Mr. Schaefer have been having discussions back and forth, and Ms. Stowers made a determination that this would be best on the agenda because the public comment issue and the Bagley-Keene issues have been something that the board members as a whole have been keenly interested in. And so instead of acting at the behest of a single member, Ms. Stowers made the decision that it would be best that the entire board hear whatever it is that he might want to say and whatever technical advice may be necessary to advise you. And so that's why this item is
Mr.
on.
Moon, I will confess, I didn't realize that it appears as a chief council matter. I would have reasonably expected our executive director to send me an email or call and say that your matter instead of board member matters is more properly discussed under chief council matters, and I would have saluted her for that. I'm
Ms.
sorry, I
Stowers,
was not
Executive
aware
Director,
that
if I may interrupt, sir.
it's on the agenda, but it's in a different section, and
If I may
that's appropriate.
interject, first of all, when you asked me about changing the policy, I did send you an email that said it was not possible, and I followed up with a detailed email on why it was not possible. I sent it to your email address, all of your email addresses, and I also CC'd your chief deputy.
And you know my oz.blueman is my
I sent it to all your email addresses.
All right, thank you.
And then regarding how this item was placed on the agenda, I did make the decision that it was best under chief counsel, and I spoke again with your chief deputy, and I read out the description on how it was being placed on the agenda. So I just wanted to say for the record that I have been responsive to your requests.
I just didn't know that it was going to be on today's agenda in that form. Thank you.
Well, I informed your chief deputy.
Excellent. Okay, well, it sounds like we're getting to the goals that everyone has, and
Problem
it
solved.
is, excuse me,
Problem solved.
I think that
It's on the
it is
agenda, right?
satisfying.
Yeah, good.
So we'll go to Mr. Moon on item 10, which is Mr. Schaefer's item in inquiry, but it's listed under chief counsel matters because it is of general relevance to the board. So Mr. Moon, if you would like to open on this item, please.
Yeah, and I think just as an official matter, I don't recall in the back and forth if the matter has been officially called, if the place on the agenda, we've actually moved to 10. So I think we need.
Well, I'll go ahead and call the item. Item 10 is under Chief Counsel Matters, Bagley-Keene Open Meetings Act, Public Participation Options. And Mr. Moon, I think you'll be making the presentation, possibly with Ms. Himovitz.
Yes.
So if you would open, please.
Yes, so thank you very much. As the board members know, this is a continuation of some discussions of previous meetings regarding Bagley-Keene, and today, specifically about how we call for public comments. And under Bagley-Keene, again, as the board members are aware, the public is entitled to speak at meetings with very few restrictions, and the state body is required to give the public an opportunity to speak on each agenda item before there's an actual vote taken. And of course, this is so that the board or the body has a clear understanding of the public concern regarding that item before a vote is taken. But this is the minimum standard. As applied to our board meetings, the board has decided, or at least expressed a desire, to allow maximum participation and transparency. And for that reason, it's been the board's historic practice to allow public comment on any agenda item, whether a vote is going to be taken or not. There has been some recent discussion or some research on staff's part about potentially finding ways to streamline that public comment process using technology to determine whether a member of the public is in queue without actually calling for the AT&T operator to see if somebody is in queue. Unfortunately, the technology does not allow us to be alerted in that fashion, and therefore the AT&T moderator has to call out to see if there's anybody waiting online for that particular item. In addition, if we were to for example, to call for any kind of public comment at the beginning of the meeting and just have them wait in queue until the agenda comes up, that would potentially create other issues. For example, somebody may not know that they want to comment until they hear some of the discussion on a particular item. And so there are those kinds of issues to consider as well. It may also be of interest to board members that we've reviewed some of our prior meetings, and if we add up all of the time that it takes to call out for public meeting from the AT&T operator for items that we are not required to do that, the total time, I think the maximum total time in the past several meetings was about 3 minutes. And so there is not a significant time burden on the board meetings. And therefore, we believe the board's current practice is not only consistent with Bagley-Keene, but that it meets the board's stated desire for maximum potential participation and transparency.
Okay, are there questions or comments? Mr. Vasquez?
No, I agree with you. I was curious. I never bothered to time it, but I figured it was only maybe a couple minutes, so. And I'm comfortable with that. At the end of the day, I think we should always be about transparency and being as open as possible for the public to have an opportunity to speak before us.
Mr. Gaines?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying the time issue, because I was wondering, how much time are we spending for items that we don't have to allow the public to speak on that are on the agenda. So that's very insightful. It's only if it's 3-4 minutes. I'm very similar to Member Vasquez's comments in that I think the transparency is good, and we want to have that discussion. And I appreciate Mr. Schaefer asking questions and challenging so that we get an idea of what's happening. But I think we have more clarity in terms of what you just shared with us. And I think the more transparent we can be, the better. I think that's expected of us as electeds, to make sure that we have the ability to have any constituent want to communicate with us. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Emron?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Mr. Schaefer for bringing this forward, and I want to echo my colleagues' comments here down the line. I just get a little concerned because all the members to my left here have sat on the Franchise Tax Board, and we do it in a very certain way, much like we do here at the Board of Equalization. So having disparity between public comment and Franchise Tax Board and Board of Equalization, I think would confuse people, and I think it would kind of gut a public process that's meant for the people and by the people. So I'm also in that mode. So I also wanted to ask a question. We've talked about this, maybe I've counted maybe 4 or 5 times. Is this something we can vote on to keep public comment open the way it is today?
Yeah, you're certainly able to do that with this agenda item today. The agenda item on the pan describes there being possible action, so you could take that action today even.
Thank you.
Mr. Schaefer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think staff is minimizing the amount of time involved because it's got to be at least half a minute, and we've had 10 items today, so that's 5 minutes so far in dialogue. It's not only the time of the AT&T operator talking to Ms. Porter, it's the chair making an inquiry to Ms. Porter or to AT&T. I mean, it's our time talking plus their time talking. It comes down to half a minute, but half a minute times a dozen items is 6 minutes. And you got to figure there's 30 people out here and there's a couple hundred people in television land watching this thing. You have hours and hours of man time that are involved in this little 30 seconds 10 times. And there's nobody appearing. I do appear before the California Judicial Council and speak sometimes, and there's never, let's see if AT&T operator has anybody. It happens that the secretary or the clerk at that California Judicial Council knows that I've requested to speak, and she knows that I've called in, and she just says, we have a speaker. They never involve AT&T. AT&T is somebody sitting in New York or where, I have no idea. I've asked to see the contract. It's been refused to me. I just know it's a uncombobulated voice speaking out, AT&T, from wherever it comes, I don't know. And I don't think that we, as the elected important officials, have an obligation to visit 10 times so far this morning just to find out if anybody's calling in. The answer is no. I think we have a duty to the taxpayers to be more efficient, and I think that AT&T has to ignore us and advise our clerk that we have somebody who's called in. And then when the item is called, the chair will look over to Ms. Porter and she'll say, we have a caller, or we don't have a caller. That would be much quicker. That would be maybe 5 seconds instead of 30 seconds. You know, I'm serious about these things. I don't want to bring our taxpayers representative into her because she's a very important part of our program. But when I came on the board, we spent 45 minutes every meeting listening to all the exciting cases that she'd had, which are already available online to us. And really, we can't judge them. We're not going to make any decisions. We're just receiving a report. And she now is able to give us a 5 or 10 minute presentation instead of 45 minutes. That's 30 minutes of our life that we saved. Plus you multiply it by a couple hundred other people involved. I think we have a duty to the taxpayers to streamline what we're doing. And I think it would be contrary to that duty to say, we recommend we maintain the status quo. I think we should, I have a report from the city clerk of San Diego that I received just yesterday, how they conduct their meeting with input on every item, and they have another way of doing it. They do not involve calling somebody in New York and saying, hello, is there anybody waiting? And the answer is no. I think we are so 1950s here in how we handle this. And if you're going to say anything, instead of maintaining the status quo, I think we should direct Ms. Stowers to evaluate how it is done with other state, county, and city forums that she may want to inquire of, like the Judicial Council of California, which is a state agency, maybe like the PUC. And I'm going to give her the 2-page response I have by email from the city clerk herself to the city of San Diego. I think it's still an open question. And I think we should never decide that, well, we're going to go on status quo. That's not our business, status quo. Our business is to evolve. And, you know, I'm the chief spokesman for that, and I demand and request your respect on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. And before we go to a second comment from Mr. Vasquez and Mr. Gaines, I'd just like to say that I am in favor of getting as much public input as possible and giving taxpayers and advocates, part of the professional community, the most access possible. If they choose not to take us up on it and they do not have a letter to submit, they're not here in chambers, they perhaps don't call, that opening is still there. And I think that's a sacred responsibility that we have to continue to offer it. And it's also a statutory responsibility that we have. We don't have the opportunity to make decisions that are contrary to Bagley-Keene. And I think that Mr. Schaefer's ideas could be better entertained in the legislature. If you go to the legislature and say, I'd like to change Bagley-Keene to reduce public comment due to efficiency concerns that I have, I think that that would be the forum to take it up in. But I would not be in favor of reducing public comment in any way, shape, or form.
Madam Chair, I'm not asking to reduce it at all. I'm not
No, I
asking
understand,
to
and
put
you've
it
had-
at the
you've
start
had
of the
your
meeting. I'm
time, Mr.
encouraging
Schaefer.
it, whether it's there or not. I still think our door should be wide open.
Mr. Schaefer, we can come back to you for that, but what we're talking about is access under Bagley-Keene to our meetings. And, you know, I grew up in the Watergate era. I followed that entire process assiduously. I think that bad things happen in government where there is no public access and no sunshine to decisions, whether large or small. And so I will never support it. And I think informally, you've got 4 people here who are against a change in our practice. But let's hear again from Mr. Vasquez and then Mr. Gaines to see if you've been able to sway them.
I'd like them to address my concern that she be aware how other state, city, or county agencies deal with
But-
the same state law. I'm in favor with the same transparency
But
she
Mr.
is.
Schaefer, let's get
All right, thank
the
you.
other members, because you have not been recognized at this time. And so you may have swayed them. So let's not turn them
Thank
off.
you.
Let's hear from them. So Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll pretty much ditto what you had just said in terms of the public comment. The only thing I would add is that, as Member Schaefer was asking to get comparisons, let me give you one from Santa Monica. When I was on the city council, we were lucky. We were lucky to finish our meetings by 1 in the morning, starting our meeting at 5 with a closed session, because we allowed for public comment. And that's something that we're real big on it. We have a very active city where everybody comes and wants to be heard on every item. And we try to consolidate it. We've actually reduced the time a little bit. So before it used to be they all had 3 minutes. Now they have 2 minutes. But nevertheless, you have to err on the side of, being transparent and be as open as possible. And when I was on the city council, we were getting a stipend, so it was costing me money to sit there. Whereas here, this is our full-time job. I mean, this is what we're paid to do. And if you're not comfortable with it, maybe you need to move on. This is our full-time gig. They're paying us for this. So whether it takes 10 minutes or 30 minutes, so be it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gaines.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate again that, transparency is the path, and we need to be more transparent than less. As to the issue of looking for alternatives, if there are alternatives out there that are more efficient, that don't reduce public input in terms of public comment, I'm in support of that.
U.S. Star Executive Director, I did check what other state bodies are doing and city bodies are doing.
Yes.
And just say for franchise tax, we're on the same system. To state mandate, they use, what's that? Not Teams, but the other, Zoom.
Okay.
They use Zoom. And because they're on a Zoom, the public can just raise their little yellow hand
Yes.
and say they want to make a public comment. And so that's why they don't have the back and forth.
Okay. But
And I
that-
believe
that-
that's the same thing with
Yeah.
Santa Monica. When we had that hearing there, we were on Zoom. So we're using a different technology platform.
Okay.
And most state agencies are doing the same. And it's a cost savings. We're not, to say we want to do Zoom and leave the platform where we have a contract with AT&T, FTB has the same contract, CDTF has the contract, we're getting it in bulk, there's a savings there.
Okay.
And it's not just to check for the AT&T operator,
Sure.
it's to provide the public line that someone can participate via
Yes.
via
Yeah,
telephone.
that's right.
And many of our stakeholders are listening. We were at Caltex yesterday, and they all were interested in this, and they all listen to our meetings. They may not always have a comment, but they are listening.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just, one more comment?
Mr. Gaines,
Because
yes.
the Zoom issue could also create problems in terms of access, right? So let's say I have a flip phone and I can call a number, right? But I can't get on Zoom. Then you're excluding part of the public that doesn't have access to Zoom. So I think that's, we got to be really careful that there's
100%
access
careful with that. I just had
at
that
all
problem
levels.
yesterday. I couldn't get on Zoom on my work phone.
Yeah.
So yes, it could
Okay.
reduce access.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if there's something out
Yeah.
there,
We're
that's faster,
always
right?
looking for something different, but it's public access.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to suggest to Mr. Schaefer, there's nothing in the world that prevents your staff from also doing the research to surface the better technology that we could potentially use, although we are in a contract with other state agencies. And then I think let's hold off on taking a motion to affirm our current practice because it's very obvious that there are four members in favor of continuing our current process of public comment. And I would note that you will notice that I speak very slowly most of the time, but when I'm calling for public comment, my voice gets a little more rapid there because I know that people don't naturally come forward to a tax agency, even to get help, and I think Ms. Thompson is really turning that around. But people do tend to hide out from us until the problem gets so bad that they're willing to come forward. And but I think our current practice really serves our transparency concerns.
And Madam Chair, you know there's nobody out there. Maybe we should run a public service announcement. Attention, please call in and give us your comments.
You know, I think I might just do that, and we might live to regret that because I have a very active district.
Madam Chair, if I could just make one point of
Yes,
clarification.
please.
So Mr. Schaefer had mentioned that 10 times we went out to get public comment, potential public comment when we didn't have to. Actually, most of those items we are required by Bagley-Keene. So the 3 minutes that I had mentioned are only the times where we go out voluntarily where Bagley-Keene does not require us to do that.
Okay. Okay,
Can
so
can
I
just-
think, Mr. Gaines.
Can I just pose a question to clarify what your statement was?
Yes,
It sounds like we're not going to take a vote, and there'd be an opportunity for Member Schaefer to do further research on other options that then could be brought forward at a future time if there's something that is more efficient.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Is that acceptable, Member
That's
Schaefer?
acceptable, and I appreciate the fact that you're on the same key, that there may be, we may not be interpreting it the most efficient way. We all, agencies of government, local, state, want to abide by Bagley-Keene, and we're looking at it differently.
Yeah.
And I just think we're not being as efficient as is, say, the California Judicial
Sure.
Council or something else.
Sure, I think the whole
I'll
board
do
would
further
support this,
research on
though,
it.
if you
That's a
wanted
good
to move
idea.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think more research is always good, and so we'll forego an action right now. And thank you to Mr. Moon for amplifying and elucidating some of the aspects of Bagley-Keene for us.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it. So members, we're going to go on now with item 11, the Executive Director's Report. And Ms. Stowers will be making a presentation to us. Thank you very much.
It's still morning, right? Good morning, Chair Lieber and honorable members. My name is Yvette Stowers, Executive Director. For today's meeting, I would like to report on a few events recently attended by the BOE and highlight important dates on the horizon. The first event I would like to report on is the California Taxpayers Association 100th Annual Meeting on February 24th, yesterday. The meeting included breakfast with State Controller, and she actually provided Caltech with a very nice resolution. And that meeting followed a panel discussion about California property taxation trends and challenges. Caltech invited Chair Lieber and Vice Chair Gaines to participate on that panel. As the Executive Director, I joined the leadership from the Franchise Tax Board, the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, and Office of Tax Appeal on the afternoon panel titled An Update on California Tax Administration and Appeals. Members of my executive management team also attended the meeting. This year was a great discussion. We had great discussion on many topics affecting property taxes and providing an excellent opportunity to connect with our stakeholders. One particular question that they asked was the upcoming work group on intangibles. So I put a little plug in there for you. I told them the first meeting is April 23rd. We also had questions from one of our favorite advocates, Ms. Gina Rodriguez, and we had a great conversation afterwards. The next item that I want to talk about is the upcoming California Assessors Association Spring Conference. The conference is scheduled for April 13th through the 16th in Riverside, California. I've sent you guys emails asking if you want to register, please register. And at least one office has responded. That concludes my report for item number 11. My executive management team will be providing updates on projects and operational priorities within their respective areas. Thank you, and I'm available to answer questions the board may have.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you for that update. You know, as you were listening, I guess yesterday, to the folks from CDTFA, I was wondering if it came up or if we made any headway in terms of getting a little bit more or better cooperation, you know, because I'm constantly getting complaints in my office, especially from the small businesses that are getting nailed by these fees and penalties. They understand in some cases that they owe, you know, back taxes, but when they're getting hit with the penalty, the fines, and the interest on top of it, it's usually more than what they owe. And they don't seem to have, we're not seem to be getting a good accommodations or willing to work with some of these small businesses that are, a lot of them, you know, if they're owing more, like sometimes cases 3 times of what their past taxes are or were, they're just like throwing in the towel, you know what, we're just gonna give it up. And I think we're losing a lot of people because of that.
I can't speak to their collection program and their penalties. I do know that when one of your constituents is having a problem with CDTFA and they reach out to your office generally contacts me, and I reach out to their taxpayer rights advocate, and the advocate has been very responsive.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or discussions on this item? Mr. Emron.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Executive Director, for showing up in the morning and in the afternoon. I'm sure it was a long day. I wanted to just take a quick moment to commend and congratulate Caltax on 100 years. It's quite incredible, the work that they've done since 1926 and how closely they work with us on a lot of issues that need resolving. And then I had an opportunity to meet with the OTA Director, Office of Tax Appeals. She invited me to come to a hearing last week on R Street, and they mean the old Victims Compensation Board meeting. I got to kind of see the processes and procedures, how that works. But one thing that she spoke to me about is their pro bono program, where low income or appellants have a chance to have legal representation. And you know, like sometimes in the tax world and tax statutes, it gets very convoluted, very, very tough. And that was something that she continues to grow. And I thought that was like great governance on that end, because that's what it's really all about. So I'm always continuously looking forward to learning more and more about what our other tax agencies are doing and what things that we can bring here and at FTB. Thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Schaefer.
Madam Executive Director, several years ago, the Cal Taxpayers Association put out quite a volume on the history of tax, and I've had a couple of copies of those and enjoy it. I wondered if somebody comes out with a 2026 book or discussing this. I may not learn about it. If you learn about it, I want you to know that the board would appreciate a little note saying this is available. If any of you are interested, you know we have a copy. I fear that you may learn things that we don't, and that you'd be quick to tell us.
I was sure.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, thank you for this report on item 11. And we'll go on now to item 12, which is also Executive Director's reports. And this is extension of time to complete local assessment role. Ms. Dowers.
It's that time of the year. Members, Revenue and Taxation Code, Section 616, require county assessors to annually complete their local assessment roll by July 1st. Section 155 provides that the board or the executive director may extend by 30 days the deadline for any official act by the assessor. In the case of a calamity, the time period may be extended by 40 days. Section 155 also requires that the executive director inform the board of any such extension at its next regular meeting. This report is to inform you that St. Louis Obispo and Trinity County assessors have requested and have been granted extension for completing their 2026 local assessment rolls. That concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, Mr. Gaines and then Mr. Schaefer.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to highlight the Caltax 100th anniversary. It was great to be there and great to see Controller Cohen there. She made some great comments at the introduction, and great to be there with Chair Lieber. And, you know, it's very interesting because we have talked a lot about transparency, and really that's what Caltax does, I think, in many ways, right? Is they're tracking what's happening in the legislature, what's happening with tax policy, and then they're trying to be transparent, share that information so that, you know, can they contribute and help solve issues? And, you know, we're going to have some discussion on intangibles coming up, and that's something they're very keen on. And I thought that that was described in a very articulate way yesterday when we were on that panel and listening to Chris, I've forgotten his last name.
Chris O'Neill.
Chris O'Neill, thank you. I thought he did a real good job in articulating that. So it was, it's great to see that they play that role, and they've done it for 100 years, and they're doing good things. So
Yes.
thank you.
They're great. They're great
Excellent.
stakeholders.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yes, Ms. Stowers, looking at item 12, it tells me that either the board or yourself can grant them the extension, and that you have granted the extension, which is great. I appreciate you doing something that saves us having to get involved. And then you're listing it here because you're required to so inform us.
Yes.
Right, okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about item 12? Seeing none, thank you, Ms. Stowers. We'll go on to item 13, the operational priorities report and quarterly budget report presented by Ms. Renati.
Good morning, Chair Lieber and honorable members. I am Lisa Renati, Chief Deputy Director. I appreciate the opportunity to give you an update on our administrative operations and overall capacity of the agency. Regarding our staffing, we continue to make steady progress filling our vacant positions across key program areas. Our focus has been targeted towards our recruitment for our program positions, and as a result, we have just a handful of vacant positions, and we're enjoying an agency vacancy rate of less than 5%, which is pretty amazing considering it was 25% in 2020. So we've done a lot of good work. At the same time, we're also mindful of long-term stability. We've expanded our succession planning efforts to identify those critical roles, documenting the institutional knowledge within our program areas, and developing an internal pipeline of talent. We've been mentoring, doing cross-training, having leadership development, and all these different activities to ensure we are prepared for the upcoming retirements and workforce transitions. Turning over to our budget, for our second quarter figures through the end of December, we are on target to spend about 90% of our budget by the end of the fiscal year. This is consistent with our spending plan, and we're making sure that all of our purchases are mission critical, and that everything is in line with keeping our pennies for the state to use as needed. A few additional operational highlights that may be of interest to you. We continue to advance our technology modernization efforts for the state's board roll project. The system enhancements will improve data accuracy, reporting capabilities, and internal controls. And this supports our operational efficiency and our readiness. We are also continuing to review business processes across the different divisions to identify opportunities for streamlining and workload alignment. And finally, we are remain committed to employee engagement. Retention is just as important as hiring new folks to come to the board, and so we're developing additional ways to gather internal feedback so that we can better understand workload priorities and support our employees' needs. And this concludes my report. The agency is fiscally responsible, fully compliant, and focused on building sustainable workforce capacity.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments? Mr. Vasquez?
Just real quick, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the report. Ms. Renati and I were just wondering, last month we celebrated the retirement of a very special staff person that you had that was a very specialty, and I'm just wondering how that's going on the recruitment, because it seems like some big shoes to fill there.
Well, that position's been filled, and we actually, for that position, since it's so specialized, we obtained permission to hire that position before Mr. McCarthy retired. So we were able to hire the new engineer and then have Mr. McCarthy train him and do some shadowing. So that way, once Mr. McCarthy left, we were ready to go. And so, yes, we were able to fill that position.
Thanks. That's good.
Mr. Emron?
Thank you. It's almost summertime. Intern season is upon us. I was able to speak at King Hall 2 weeks ago and refer a interested student in tax. Imagine you're 22 years old, interested in tax, to the franchise tax where she's starting a legal internship. SEO is also interviewing some interns too, but just something to keep in mind, and I'd love to refer if anybody's interested in BOE too. Thank you.
Thanks. Super. Mr. Schaefer?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Minotti, when we go back to COVID days, a number of our people were able to work at home because it was good, safer. Today is a different world that everybody, I think, from the president on down, is saying you got to come back to the office. How is our work at home versus work in a formal office relationship? Has that changed, or is it consistent with business and government in general? I just never had that issue addressed.
Well, thank you for your question. We do have a telework plan where employees are mandated to be in the office 2 days a week. However, I'd like to point out that our business before COVID, during COVID, well, during COVID is different, but before COVID and now, hasn't changed that dramatically because we have auditors and we have appraisers, and they go out to the field. We call it the field. They go out to different taxpayer locations to perform audits. They go out to the assessors' locations to perform their audits. And so we've always had staff that weren't necessarily all sitting in the office 5 days a week. So our operations are back to normal and allowing people to work at home as needed. Some of our people need to be out and about. Some need to be in a quiet space. So we are maintaining, we're following state law with our telework, and we're allowing telework, but at the same time, we're not the same as everyone else. So our people are working where they need to work.
Thank you.
Ms. Stowers, did you want to add? Mr. Gaines?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to make a quick comment, but thank you for keeping us below budget, and that goes to Executive Director Stowers. Thank you. And then also that vacancy at 5%, I really am impressed by what a good job you and your team have done. And I think the BOE, I'm just impressed with how well things are operating. And it's taken, several years to kind of get it where it needs to be. And we've had a lot of transition with baby boomers retiring and new folks coming in. So those are critical moments, but I feel like you've handled them really well. So just want to compliment the whole team and all your efforts.
Thank you. I'll let the team know.
Yeah.
Dave's team really should get a lot of the applause because they're the ones just every day interviewing. At least once a week,
Absolutely.
someone's interviewing. So
Yeah.
making sure they get the positions in.
Yeah, thank
And then
you.
training.
For sure. Great, thanks.
Excellent. Well, we very much appreciate your report. So thank you very much. And members, we are running just about 11 minutes ahead of time. We've been very efficient today, but this was indicated as the time for our lunch break. So if that works for staff, we'd like to go ahead and take our break now at 11:54, and we will come back at 12:54. Thank you.